reverse database to ERD. To maintain or to migrate a legacy database is not an easy task, especially when there is lack of documentation or even no documentation. To ease this process, in Visual Paradigm, you can visualize the database to the ERD through the database reverse engineering, and then touch up or modify your design based on your requirements. After that, you can patch your change back to the database. Then the database will become maintainable, or you migrate to another database as you want. In the following section in this lecture, I will talk about how to reverse the database. I will outline the step first, and then I will demonstrate how to do that. To reverse the database, first you need to go to the Tools tab, and then click on the DB and Reverse Database. Then you will see a dialog box. I don't walk through the options here. I will talk about it later on in this lecture. Click the Next and configure the necessary database connection options. Then click the Next, and now you can select which table you want to reverse. You may have a lot of tables, some system table or some table from different system you don't want to incorporate in the reverse. You can filter them now. Then click the Next and finish. You preview what you reverse, and then you can drag and drop the entity into the ERD. Then you form a proper entity relationship diagram. Let me show you how to do it in Visual Paradigm. Here I have the Visual Paradigm. This is a new project. I want to show you in the new project, easier to understand. Then go to Tools and DB Reverse Database, and I just leave it as it is. Click Next and select the database engine. I reversed my SQL. The connection URL is 172.0.0.1. Database is online photo album. Let me just test the connection. It's success. I click Next. Then you can select what table you want. But by default, we put all the table. If you don't want, you can click and send them back. Things like that. Since the album connecting to this table, so you will remove it. It will remove all. Then I just want to put all. Then I click Next and Finish. Now you will see a list of entities reversed. What you can do is you can drag and drop the entity into the ERD. You see, when you drag and drop the entity, we will create visualize the relationship for you by default. The reason we provide list rather than show all the entity into the diagram is we will allow you to create multiple ERD instead of single. So you can create another ERD and to accommodate different entity. Then you can drag and drop everything on it, something like that. So we will show all the table. That can help you to build a multiple ERD rather than a giant entity relationship diagram. Let's move on to talk about different options. When you reverse the database, you will see a lot of options. The first one is the language. You can select what method you want to connect to the database. You can select the Java. The JDBC driver is used. Or if you're using C#, it is using the adapter file. The second option is the result. How's the reversed result showing? This is what we see the list, and default it is a pop-up entity list. Let me just show you the differences between this option. The first one is the pop-up entity list. What we just doing is we provide list, and then you can drag and drop the entities into the ERD, and that helps you to develop a multiple context-based entity relationship diagram rather than a giant entity relationship diagram. The second option is to create a brand new entity relationship diagram and place all the entities we reversed to it. The third option is to reverse the entity into an existing ERD. You need to use it with care, and that may mess up your existing design. But if you're sure that your reverse is just adding some new table into the entity relationship diagram, that's fine. You just do it this way. Or you don't form any diagram, you just reverse it to the repository. Then you can drag and drop to the diagram later on using the official paradigm. Regarding how to reuse the elements in the model repository to the diagram, you can refer to the official paradigm essential online training course. Then the third option is the reverse table. You check this if you want to reverse the table to as an entity. If you uncheck, we will ignore all the database table. This is useful if you just want to reverse the stored procedure or the trigger. You can include a synonym. This is the alternative name of the table or view. Please be reminded that the synonym option only support in Oracle database. Only Oracle database provide this synonym. So if you reverse the Oracle, you can check it. The fourth is reverse stored procedure. You can check this option if you want to reverse the stored procedure. You can refer to lecture number 8 about the detail of the stored procedure. Uncheck this if you don't want to reverse the stored procedure. The trigger, similar. It is reverse the database trigger. Again, you can refer to lecture number 8 about the trigger. If you uncheck it, you just skip it. This option is about how to treat the stored procedure and the trigger after we reverse. If you take this box, by default it's ticked, then we will create a procedure shape and put all the procedure inside the single procedure. It's just like grouping all the procedure in a single shape is easier to manage. Or you can uncheck it, then we will create a shape for each procedure. Then you have plenty of flexibility to drag and drop to everywhere. And this option governs both the procedure and triggers. You can select where to store the reversed entities. By default, it will put into the root level of the project, but you can create a model and store the reversed entities. It is very helpful when you have a very large database, very large system. You don't put everything in the root. You can put it in different model. It's just like the folder. Again, if you want to know more about the model concept, please refer to the official paradigm essential training course. I'm just showing you reverse the database from the online database. Sometimes you may not have the connection direct to the working database. We also can reverse the data definition language, the DDL, which is a text file. To reverse the DDL is similar to the database. You just go to the Tools, DB. This time you choose Reverse DDL. And in the Reverse DDL dialog box, you select the DDL file and tell us what kind of database you are reversing. It is important, even we don't connect to your database, but we need to know the data type with what you're referring to. So you need to specify the database and then select the encoding. Basically, it's a UTF-8, but you may have a special setting. Then keep the generated ERD checked, and then click OK, and we will reverse the entity into the ERD for you. So it's easy and straightforward. Let's summarize this lecture. We talk about how to reverse the database in ERD and how to use different database reversal options to control the reverse behavior. And I also tell you how to reverse the DDL to the ERD.